70% of the world's economy is generated by crime. We're talking about human trafficking, arms trafficking, the sale of illegal chemicals. We're talking about extortion, corruption, kidnapping. The amount of money that criminals are trying to clean is about $10 million a minute. There are three major ways in which criminals move their money around and try to conceal the fact that it has come from crime, which is, of course, the whole purpose of money laundering. First of all, they'll move their money through the financial system. Secondly, they'll physically move cash around, and cash smuggling is much more common than you might imagine. And the third method is the trade-based money laundering, where criminals use international trade to move money around.
Well, there are a number of basic methodologies for trade-based money laundering. Under and over-invoicing is one where the launderers are transferring assets from one country, one jurisdiction to another by misstating the value of goods on invoices. For example, with over-invoicing, I can sell, in unit terms, a $2 bottle of perfume to an importer who needs to launder a single criminal dollar out of his country, but I invoice him $3 a bottle, which he pays me. And hey presto, the criminal dollar has been absorbed within a legitimate transaction. And I can do the same thing by under-invoicing, except this time the criminal value is transferred via the goods rather than via the payment. For example, as an exporter who needs to launder $1 in value out of his country, I can invoice a complicit importer for perfume at $1 a bottle, which he duly pays me. But what I ship him is perfume which is actually worth $2 a bottle, which he then sells in the open market for $2 and is left with my $1 of criminal money, again absorbed within a perfectly legitimate appearing transaction, and which can be dealt with according to my instructions. And of course, sometimes there are no goods at all.
It was a company here in Brazil. They had signed a contract to export soybeans to a German company. The Germans had paid in advance, which was unusual. But what really caught my eye was that this Brazilian company had no record of exporting soybeans before, or in fact, any other type of food.
I got a call from the authorities in Brazil saying there were some suspicions about this particular transaction. When they sent me the details, I immediately saw that the size of the soybean shipment was far too big for a little Brazilian company like that to supply. A quick check of our customs records showed that no soybeans had ever been sent. It was a phantom shipment.
Well, of course, we immediately looked into the accounts of this soybean company. And what we found is that the payment in advance sent from Germany was sent immediately to a third company, which had no discernible connection with the whole transaction. So what you think immediately is money laundering.
Now, the same sort of effect as over and under invoicing can be achieved with under and over shipment. The launderers again achieve the basic end of transferring criminal value from one country to another, but this time not by misstating the value on the invoices, but by shipping either more or less of the actual goods themselves. So I want to launder $2 criminal dollars out of my country. I get a complicit exporter to invoice me for 2 bottles of perfume at $2 each, a total of $4. In fact, then he only sends me one bottle, but I pay him the $4, a net transfer of $2 of criminal money. So that is under-shipment. Now, with over-shipment, the value is transferred in goods rather than money. I invoice one bottle of perfume at $2, which she pays, but I send her 2 bottles worth $4, which she sells in an open market, and is left with $2 of criminally derived money. By shipping either more or less of the actual goods themselves.
It was the last shipment of the day, wasn't it?
Yeah. Scrap metal, 600 or 700 tons, according to the paperwork.
Yeah, you read it out, didn't you? 680 tons or whatever it was. And I said, how much?
The sun was really low in the sky, so it was probably about 6 o'clock. So you really had to squint to see the ship.
No, the hull was way above the waterline, like way above. Yeah.
There's no way that there was 700 tons of scrap metal in that hold.
So we boarded, of course. Once we were in the cargo hold, we could see that 680 tons of metal was like more like 100 tons. All the commercial invoices and the bills of lading, like all the shipping documents, they all said 680 tons.
They would have paid way over the value with criminal money, criminal funds.